Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it, just as it obliterated others before it. Hamas's attack on Israel at the weekend is being reported as the worst attack on the country since its foundation in the 1940s. Some Israelis have even called the attack their own 9/11. I'm sure many of you would have seen the truly horrifying images that took place on social media. These included dead soldiers being taken out of vehicles, female soldiers being kidnapped and abused, concertgoers fleeing for their lives, kidnapped children being bullied, and even makeshift shovels and other equipment being used to try and decapitate wounded people. The purpose of this video is not to share any of those images with you. If you were interested in seeing these, American political commentator Ben Shapiro has done a lengthy video discussing this, and I will include a link for this. Be warned though, there is some very graphic stuff on there, and I'm surprised YouTube has not taken the video down yet. This video does not intend to be either pro-Israel or pro-Palestine, and is certainly not advocating for any type of violence from any side. I must be clear that what I will say in this video is about what I think of the situation, and does not reflect my desired outcome for the conflict. In an ideal world, both sides would put down their arms and come to a solution which satisfies all involved. However, given this has not happened for over 70 years, and with this recent attack just now, there is zero prospect of this happening. I believe that only one of Israel or Palestine can ultimately win this never-ending war. I do not believe the two sides can coexist on the same land. The Israelis, being the only Jewish state in the world, consider Israel to be their holy land, which their ancestors were instructed to make as their homeland. Jews were at different times in history pushed out of the land, and started to head back in the late 19th and early 20th century. Israel was created in 1948, in the aftermath of the Second World War. The Palestinians, whose population is predominantly Muslim, viewed the creation of Israel as the theft of their own land, and were deeply angry with this arrangement. As the decades have passed since the 1940s, Palestinians have seen more and more of their land transferred to, or in their view stolen, by the Israelis. These two viewpoints are completely at odds with each other, with both sides having their own claim to the land. But this is only part of the story. One must then consider that Hamas is in control of Gaza, a tiny piece of Palestinian land about the quarter of the size of London, in the southwest of Israel. Hamas is described by many Western governments as a terrorist organisation. Included in the Hamas Charter is the following wording about Israel, and I quote, "Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it, just as it obliterated others before it." End quote. When an organisation has wording such as that in its own charter, being completely honest and open about their motivations of wanting to wipe Israel from the map, how can anyone truly believe that a permanent peace between the two sides is possible? How could anyone view peace talks between an Israeli and Palestinian representative as something other than a short-term pause in fighting, which will definitely begin again at a later date? Tonight there are reports that children and babies have even been beheaded by the Hamas fighters. The level of hatred between the two communities was shown in the worst possible way at the weekend, with the attacks on the Israelis. It remains to be seen how Israel will respond to Hamas's actions in the coming days and weeks. There really is hatred between the two sides. Consider the fact that English and German soldiers played football against each other on Christmas Day back in 1914, during the First World War. Could anyone imagine such a thing happening in the Middle East today? With all this being said, I sadly do not believe a lasting peace between the two sides will ever be achieved. I think it can only end with one side being the ultimate winner.
הבית שלנו, פיים עליי, בית שלנו